So what kind of soup did you get?
Oh, it's hot.
Hot soup?
Mediterranean chicken and lemon soup, rice soup.
It smells really good.
It is really good.
I'm full and it still smells good. So that you know that's something.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a Coca-Cola in a bottle. Mexican Coke. The only way to go.
I am drinking dihydrogen monoxide.
Oh.
Don't die.
Wait. Chemical? I don't get it.
What is that?
He's being smart.
I'm an
Smart
alien.
ass.
Hey, these are the people that are on the podcast, and we're doing one. It's happening, and that person you first heard was Lauren Hall-Steigerts.
Hi.
Hey, we're on a podcast where you can actually hear you now.
Yeah.
If you don't know, we were on a podcast, episode 39, and it was a really good discussion, and the audio went to shit. And it sucks because it was a pretty darn good discussion. Yeah,
We ham and egged it well.
we did, and so now we'll be here for realsies. Now you'll be able to hear us
Yay.
in all our headphones, smooth microphone style, which Justin is enamored with.
Yeah.
This is Justin Minnick.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Justin was on our very first podcast with Atticus, and it was pretty much just the Zoom.
Yeah. It was like us huddled around a Zoom at my kitchen table.
Yeah, and it was fun.
Yeah.
So glad to have you back finally. Jeez.
Yeah, I know,
What's
right?
going on?
Well, Magnolia. It's Magnolia.
Yeah, we're far away. He's in Capitol Hill. I'm in Magnolia. You've all heard it before.
Yeah.
I'm far, far away.
And you're
across,
far, too.
Like 4 bodies of water.
It's
Four?
Something like that.
I think that might be
Okay,
a
maybe
little
3.
extreme. Okay, yeah.
More like 3.
Yeah, but still, multiple bodies of water. It's kind of amazing that we're all together then, right in the same room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, also, Justin is going to show up on our live podcast, right?
Well, okay.
Putting him in the mix right away.
Oh, no pressure, but all the pressure. So we'll see if my legs still work.
What? Why?
Okay, so there's this hiking group for people who work in post-production, and I join them, and I want to go on that hike that happens during the day, so hopefully my legs will still work at night, so that's what I'm saying.
You can crawl to it. It'll be weird, but you can do
right.
that. All right. Sorry, adjusting microphone.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff today, but we're also going to talk about stuff that fills us with vitriol. Am I using that word the right way?
Yes, you are. I always think of it as like this sort of acrid, concentrated, viscous fluid of anger.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
It actually hurts your insides as it flows through you.
Yeah.
Whoa, that sounds exactly what I have.
Yes.
I totally have a lot of vitriol. Too much so. So we're going to try to get rid of it on this podcast.
And hoist it upon everybody else.
Yes.
Well,
You can
to
have
Purge Cast.
You can have our vitriol. We don't want it anymore. So the first part of vitriol is going to come at the beginning here, where we talk about video games we're playing, and I'm going to start so I can get rid of some vitriol, if that's okay with y'all.
That's fine. Yeah.
Y'all.
My vitriol is this. So one of the games I'm playing is The Order 1886. A lot of people on the internet really have a problem with this game, and they call it all sorts of bad names, like dumb, stupid, dumb, things like that. One particular person said it was the most depressing game he's played in a while. That's not true. Even I'm telling him his opinion is incorrect. This one is from Kotaku. Do you like movies? Do you like video games? If you answered yes to either of those questions, you should probably skip The Order 1886.
What?
That doesn't even make any sense, because it is a video game, and it is actually more of a cinematic video game, so it's like a movie. It's the opposite of that, so I don't really understand that at all. But just to give you a little background, it's a game. It's real fancy looking. It's steampunky. There's werewolves. It's kind of about this old school group called the Order. There's a lot of cinematics. Yes, there are QuickTime events. Yes, there are some things that I don't necessarily like in my video games. Like, I like the idea of just controlling my character. But all that said, it's beautiful. It's definitely story first, and it's kind of what it's their vision of this story. It's like if I went to go see a movie and paid for whatever $16 to see a movie, it was that version, that edit. I have no interactivity at all. But this is, like Heavy Rain or something, where you definitely are kind of seeing their experience, and then you are, playing parts of it as well. So, I mean, I know Heavy Rain had more choices than this, but I just think that everyone's way too extreme with their anger at this game, because it's a good looking game and it's kind of cool, and I just think it speaks bigger to the idea of games journalism. And there's a problem, obviously, with that whole institution. There's a reason why it sounds like after this review, maybe this is a reason why this shit is going away. Like, everybody's got to calm the fuck down. Like, video games are part of life. They're just like movies and books and stuff. They're just something we're experiencing as an entertainment art form. To be so, like, extreme about reviews on stuff just seems out of place. Am I wrong?
No, I think that it goes back to this addiction that we have with the media, that we have to keep talking louder and louder, and we have to be more extreme and more hyperbolic with our statements to compete with all of the other media out there, because people have a limited attention span and people also have limited time, and so it's whoever's speaking loudest and most aggressively gets heard. And I think that's why you get these audacious expressions all the time, whether they're true or not.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we want to get the links, or we want to get the people to listen, so we're going to say it's the most depressing thing I've ever played. Like, it's not that. And also, there's like really good people behind all these companies who are really trying hard to make something. You know what I mean? We make a podcast. I make videos for a living. Justin does too. And it's really fucking hard to make something in this world.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, it's really hard to make a movie. Like, really hard. It's hard to make a video game. So I just feel like, and that's why one of the reasons we started this podcast is because I wanted to show the other side that games are fucking fun. They're really changing. They're evolving. Let's go along the roller coaster ride with it and just enjoy this experience that's happening, instead of like trying to cut it down or get, like you said, like the ratings or something. It's, yeah. Justin, your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Lauren's right, because excuse me, I'm all phlegmy from beer.
Gross, but continue.
Hey, bodily functions, it's a thing.
It is.
But yeah, because because if you're playing to that lowest common denominator, I mean, the quality of your content is just going to suffer, because if you're just yelling the loudest, then you're just becoming like the Fox News of
games,
of game journalism. And it's just like, I'd say, like, be entertaining and have thoughtful critiques and all that, but people will pay attention to a yelling guy, but I think it's kind of a whole like crying wolf thing. It's like, eventually it's just like, yeah, all right, that's that guy that's just going to ramble on the street corner. We're gonna go about our day and
stop listening to him
and stop listening to him.
Yeah.
So I think the temptation to fall into that sort of pattern of reporting just needs to be avoided.
And it's not helping the games industry, because, again, I have tons of friends who just bolted because we realized it was going under in a way. That old school version of it was going, and a lot of us went to game developers, where I am actually, and IGN. Greg Miller just split from there. I mean, I just feel like Polygon's amazing, and one of these reviews is on Polygon, so I don't appreciate it at all. And I think that they've been pretty good about getting really interesting human stories and doing some actual journalism. But this kind of stuff sets it back. I think the idea and that concept, and then I'll leave this topic alone, but the old school version of reviews was because graphics really were a big deal. So it was like, oh my goodness, that one actually looks a lot better than that other game. So you remember GamePro, like the smiley faces and stuff. But that had sound. Oh, the sound is actually way better. They're using a different fidelity, And now I feel like that's gone. Like that, we can't do it on that anymore.
And I think that even though we're pinning that on the journalism industry, I think half the responsibility is also with the consumers of the media, right? Because the journalists are only supplying what they know is going to get a hook. And so my PSA for the evening is, us as media consumers have a responsibility to reward good media outlets. So let's all go out and just search, just this week, find 1 or 2 new media outlets you don't usually read and that are high quality and they back up their statements with facts. And, just go into it and support them, and they don't have hyperbolic statements necessarily. It's not necessarily entertaining. It's factual, interesting.
Yeah.
So go support that.
And the bus that just drove by says that too. It's like, listen, she made a good point. I'm going to rumble on by with my support. You didn't see it, but they had a flag out there. It was like, go journalism on the bus.
Rumble support.
Yeah, rumble support, which is in the controllers. Yes, well said. So I'll leave that the Order 1886. I've played very little of it. I played past the prologue, and I'm into the game now, and watched the cutscenes and done QuickTime events and played. The shooting is very good. The shooting is very good. A lot of fun weapons. Nikola Tesla supposedly gives me some of these weapons. Like they mentioned, like there's like Nikola. It's just kind of fun. But
poor access to donuts.
What?
Weren't you trying to get pastries in that game?
I was.
Yeah.
If you guys see some of my little tweets or things, I've been talking about the pastries. There's a lot of pastries in there, but you can't eat any of them. Your character just like goes to touch them. Like it's so many video games, you see something and you can't actually have it. And I can jump over the table and like kind of get near them, and then it just destroys all the pastries. I'm like, but I wanted to eat the pastry.
What kind of beats like Skyrim or Fallout or something, because Bethesda always has that habit of like, we're going to make a bunch of items that are completely useless, but you can pick them up.
Yeah. Well, in Skyrim you can eat pastries.
That is true. Yeah, your sweet roll. But then you have like rolls of paper. What do you do with those?
I don't know.
What do you do with embalming instruments? Just be creepy.
Embalmed?
Yeah, embalmed. It always goes back to Skyrim, by the way, in our podcast, I realized.
Yeah.
So play check it out. I mean, I know it's $60. I actually pre-ordered it, so I got that DLC with it to give a little more value to $60. And I'm in a different. I know I'm in a different position than other people. $60. Sometimes people have money for one game that 3 months or a year or something. So I get it. But I also want to just say, take what you're hearing out in the world of game journalism with a grain of salt, because it's like there's some extreme stuff out there that I feel like Lauren said they're trying to get some sort of eyeballs on it, and I just don't know how we do games journalism anymore, because I think it's like movie reviews, like you know what I mean. Like sometimes I don't even read those. Or watch the trailer, maybe, if it doesn't tell me too much. And then I just go and see the damn thing. Like it's kind of fun to see a new experience, I mean, maybe I'll look at something if everybody in the world is saying this movie is terrible. Maybe I'll second guess it, but sometimes I won't, And that's just how we do movie reviews is different. I just feel like it's not as like live and die by it. A movie can come out and have shitty reviews and then go on DVD and do well. Or, there's just different ways. And we don't do that with music. I mean, we do music reviews, but I don't give a fuck if this guy doesn't like Sleater-Kinney.
It doesn't seem to work with music
Yeah, it
much.
doesn't. No, you're right.
I don't know why.
Because, someone could be like, fuck Killswitch Engage. And I'm like, I don't care. I love them.
You know why? It's because it's a lower commitment level to listen to music. You can just listen in the background, where a movie you have to pretty much dedicate your eyeballs to.
And
a video
time.
game you have to dedicate your eyeballs to in time.
Time and money, yeah. And with like Spotify and stuff, like a lot of stuff music-wise is practically free, right? Like it's really cheap / free. So time and money is definitely part of it. But anywho, leave that discussion for a later date. What else is everybody else playing? Justin, you're doing some weird emulator stuff, right?
Well, excuse me. Before I get into that, I forget. Did I mention the upscaler ever on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, for the what? For the 64?
Yeah, for the 64.
No, I don't think you did.
Okay. So I do want to touch on that first. So just for anyone listening that has a retro console that will not work with your projector or TV or other device, a lot of, I guess, hardcore hardware modders on the web, especially with like the N64, will say like, well, you need to get like a SCART cable and you need to solder that directly to the board and then you'll get the best quality.
And that's how they sound. If they
it's exactly how they
yeah.
sound. Yeah, they sound like a mechanic in a body shop.
Yeah.
But it's like, you could just, if you have sucky soldering skills like I do, and you could just, brick your system potentially, or there's an upscaler you can get from, well, you can get it over at Amazon, but it's made in Japan. I think it's called the XRGB Mini Framemeister or something like that.
Is it German?
I don't know.
Framemeister?
I think it's the Framemeister. I don't know.
We'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah. But yeah, that will upscale all of the low res output and will output it over an HDMI cable, or if you just want to do RCA or what have you. And it works great. I will say that since I haven't been on the podcast for a while, Mario Tennis became a big thing in my house for a while. Lots of trash talking, like much more than like Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you're actively like spiking it at somebody, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's not the term.
No,
That's
volleyball. But there's spikes. Like if you get,
Is that what they call it, spiking?
I don't know if they call it that, but that's what happens. And then
Love.
That's what,
You're like, I got a word from
Oh,
the
no.
tennis. It's love is one of the words.
there's no love in that.
There's
game.
no love in that game.
Actually, that is the thing.
Yeah, it is. Love 15.
But I don't know, yeah.
It just means you don't have a point yet.
Oh.
It's like love 15. Anyway.
Okay.
Real quick, before you leave that, the upres stuff, I remember actually, I just did a show with Metal Jesus on the YouTube. And it'll probably be out the week that this comes out. And he was showing me all of his upres devices, actually.
Oh, nice.
I just remember this. And he was doing it with all of his old consoles. And he said most of them you can do that now, like with those little devices.
Yeah,
So-
the thing is, it is kind of pricey. It's like it's around like $500, but like I'd say it's a fairly good investment.
Yeah.
But the other thing that a friend of mine got me onto was this emulator called OpenEmu.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what's great about it is that it basically, collects all these different emulator cores together in one program. You can drop your ROMs into a library and it'll organize them and download box art and stuff like that.
Super cool. And what are you doing that on? With this, what machine?
So I'm doing that on my Mac, and to do that, I needed to get a driver for my Xbox 360 controller, since that has most of the buttons that retro consoles have. And I was able to find a driver. Basically, let me pull up the file name of this. So if you Google, because I'm not sure if I have a direct link for.
Is it a German one as well?
Yeah.
Tyson.
Xbox and controller. Scheiße, I don't know. So it's 360 controller install .0.12.dmg. If you do a Google for that, you can download that, install it, restart, and your Xbox 360 controller will work with will work with your Mac. And I'm assuming it'll work on Steam. I haven't tried it out yet.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny because like even with Steam, there's a lot of support, controller support, but some of them you still need to get like Joy Key or all those different kind of drivers or programs to make it work. So we'll put that link in the show notes. That's helpful because if you're on PC or Mac and you want to play games with a controller, it's got to be a 360 controller. It's awesome.
Yeah,
and it's a little difficult to find a wired one sometimes, but yeah, do it.
Yeah,
it's real fun. And you were mentioning actually before the podcast, you were saying that you were playing A Boy and His Blob.
No.
Lauren was saying that.
That was,
what was
no,
it?
That's something. That's something
totally
else.
different.
It's a sensitive topic for you, I know, because you hate that game.
I
right?
hate that game.
Okay.
Well, we'll get into that, I'm sure.
Okay.
What I have been playing. Okay, I mean, I won't get into the story of it, but I didn't get an SNES when I was growing up. I got a Genesis instead for betrayal issues that I felt. Anyway,
Genesis does what Nintendo don't. So you that was a thing. You believed that? Oh yeah.
Yep,
Yes, I did.
I was a Genesis girl.
Oh
Whoop, whoop.
yeah. You all crazy because I was TurboGrafx, but whatever.
Well, I was a big Mario freak, but anyway, so I missed out on all these great games that were on SNES, and so I thought like, oh, okay. I get into emulators and then I'd forget about them. But yeah, like OpenEmu seemed just really cool. So I got all these ROMs and quickly discovered that, man, do I ever suck
At old games.
Yes.
at old games.
Yeah.
They were really hard.
A lot of them were really hard. Yeah.
When I was 5 years old, I had to play this game. And
Uphill in the snow.
Uphill in the snow,
Yeah.
and you guys can't do it because it's way too hard now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to play Mega Man 7. I couldn't get past the first level.
But Mega Man is tough as shit.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but even like Super Punch Out. Well, I will say this: despite the fact that Star Fox was, revolutionary on the console for the time, like I don't know how anyone played that game.
It's just at that time period, you're like, whoa, it's going
Yeah.
3D, you know, like, and we were
Especially
blown
without
away.
an analog controller, just with a D-pad, it's so hard.
Yeah. Have you played Earthbound ever? Have we talked about this?
No, but I did download that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that needs to happen.
Okay.
That's on my to-do list. I
Oh.
really want to play.
Well, then we can do
Earthbound.
it. We could do it a podcast for it.
Podcast playthrough.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Because everybody loves going back and talking about that game because it's amazing. There's actually a new game out called Citizens of Earth,
saw
and
that.
it's like that, the style of it. But what made Earthbound amazing, and everybody listening knows this, who is a nerd and played it, is that it was just a perfect storm where there was a U.S. person who translated it because it was like all this weird Japanese jokes and just, you know, the Japanese take on the 1950s or like version of America, you know?
So weird.
Not 50s, but like mentality, right? Like this is what America's like.
Perfect.
Well, like little
Apple
neighborhood,
pie, baseball.
little neighborhood, the kid, his bike, you know, that kind of thing.
You know, to be fair, that's what America was perpetuating in the media
Oh, right.
and marketing at the time.
Yeah. So they were going off of what they saw or whatever and knew, but they weren't here, you know, and didn't have all the nuances.
Yeah.
But then you had the translator who also understood their jokes and made his own kind of jokes with it. So it was this perfect storm of weird ass role playing game anyhow with, you know, this new kind of translation and take on it. So we should do a show on Earthbound.
Wasn't Mother the follow-up game to that?
Well, it's basically called Mother, and there's a Mother 2 is Earthbound. Oh no, Mother 3 is Earthbound. Fuck, I always fuck this up. It's Mother 1 is the first game, and then Earthbound is Mother 2, and then Mother 3 came out on Game Boy Advance, I believe,
Okay.
and we didn't get it. It gets real complicated.
Wow.
So what are you playing, Lauren?
Well, we were talking about the difficulty of retro games, and what I've been playing has been more passive. I've been getting into listening to silent playthroughs of old school video games that I was really into as a kid. And I listen to them in the background while I'm working on my computer. I can't watch them because they'll be really distracting, but just listening to silent playthroughs with no voiceovers, that's why it has to be retro, because a lot of modern games have the voiceover and the narration. Can't have that. I do a lot of writing. It's going to distract me. So I've put together my own YouTube playlist of all the games I played as a kid.
I like that. You should share it with us. We'll put it in the link.
I will. I'll do that. I'm starting to collect that. It's only maybe 10 games deep at the moment. So right now on there is Sonic 1, 2, and 3, Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3, plus the Streets of Rage remake that came out in the last 3 or 4 years or something like that.
So when you say silent, though, you mean like it's the sound effects from the game.
Sound
It's
effects
just
from the
not
game.
like a person talking over it going like, whoa, check out what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Knuckles Chaotix talking about like 32X, Echo the Dolphin,
Cool.
all that stuff. And the funniest one that I'm starting to renege on is I put Shadow of the Colossus in there. I'm like, there's no lyrics in there. Yeah, that'll be good. And so I'm listening, I hear this
Yeah.
of the horse like running for about 2 hours. And I'm like, why? And the music doesn't start until you actually encounter a Colossus. I'm like,
this is just like footsteps.
yeah,
This
like,
is just a
okay,
horse.
that's just too boring.
Yeah.
It's Monty Python and the Holy Grail and the 2 coconuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Except-
Well, because you could also like listen to chiptune stuff too.
Yes,
It
I
seems
actually have a huge playlist on Spotify, and I'll share the public URL for that
Okay,
as
cool.
well. I have well over 700 or 800 chiptune songs on
Nice.
that.
Ooh.
So everything that has no lyrics. And the one distracting thing, even though I'm not actually watching the videos, is that we were talking about how difficult those games are, and so sometimes, like I've beat Streets of Rage plenty of times, but then Echo the Dolphin is really, really, really fucking hard.
I don't remember at all. You're a dolphin and you're in water.
Yeah, I never played Echo the Dolphin. I know I keep.
No, do what you do.
Yeah, I don't know, over here. All right. Anyway, but no, because I know it was mentioned earlier, Boy and His Blob, because you're talking about like listening to music. It's like that game.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, you guys know, but the world needs to.
The world needs to know how much Justin
Yeah.
despises a specific spot in A Boy and His Blob.
Yeah, because it's the beginning,
Yeah.
essentially. Because like,
And now Justin will tell you.
the premise of it as a game, I think, is great. But you make the hole, you go down into like the underground, and you try.
The way you said that, you make the hole, you go
Explain,
down.
how do you make the how do you make the hole?
How do you make the hole again? You make the hole.
You just make the hole.
You
I don't
make
know.
the
You give
hole.
him some flavor of jelly bean, and he becomes a hole somehow.
Yeah, he's
Your
a
blob,
hole.
your pet blob, can transform into
It's
a
a
hole.
hole.
It's a hole. Yeah. Thanks for the play-by-play. Lauren helped that out.
Just for everybody who hasn't played A Boy and His
Yeah.
Blob.
There's a blob.
Well,
He changes shapes.
It's either you know the game or you enjoy the euphemisms. Let's just
All right. So you made your hole. Listen, you made
So
your
I
hole.
made
and
my hole.
You made your hole. Then what happened?
So then I went down into the
Into the-
I think it's sewers of the underworld or something.
Subway.
The dark hole.
And then you duck hole.
The dark hole.
That's-
I was talking with my accent. It's a dark hole.
In New York accent.
It's my Audie character. Come on, just keep going. You're in your hole. What? I'm just saying what you said. You're in your hole.
All right,
now what
so
happens?
I'm in my hole, right?
Yep,
And I'm
uh-huh.
with my blob in my hole.
Yes. And then what happens?
And then I encounter like this demon bouncy worm snake thing, and I
Yep.
turn the blob into everything I possibly can with my jelly beans, and nothing wakes to get past it.
Nothing works.
Nothing wakes, and then after a while, the music just keep trying things, and the music seems like it's mocking you because it's like
mocking you.
do yeah
Yeah.
do
And you're like, listen, I'm in this hole. I'm just trying as hard as I can in this hole.
yeah, it's like you can do it,
And then you transform the blob into marble columns.
Marble columns.
SNL
You gotta
reference.
get yourself
The
some marble columns.
columns.
That is beautiful. That's the one with
Nice.
Scarlett Johansson's the best one.
Yes, that's the one. Anyway.
Okay, anyways. Emulators, old school games, all of it's good. It seems like you guys are enjoying those, but not the blob.
Oh, yeah,
Or
that was
Boy
my
and His Blob.
point before
yeah.
we went to the Boy
Right.
and His Blob, was that some of these games were so hard that I never actually finished them. So
Yes.
when I start to hear new music I haven't heard before, I'm like, I never got to this part. Now I have to watch the rest of the game.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
I stop what I'm doing and watch for like 15, 20 minutes while they defeat the end of the game that I couldn't defeat.
Yeah, we talked about that because we were watching, for a while there, I was on a kick of watching a ton of old ones because that's, A, we didn't have the time, or B, we couldn't afford all the games, right? So you couldn't get some of them, right?
Yeah.
And then, they were really hard to beat. So I would go back and just watch a ton of endings because I was like, oh, there you go. So most of them not worth it.
Nope.
It's like one screen.
It's got to be like a supercut out there, like all the NES endings.
Oh,
or
yeah,
like,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is old school stuff. That's a cool thing you're doing. We'll put the links in the show notes for all those.
Make a note, please.
I'm making notes right now.
Thank you.
I'm making notes in my hole.
Make a note to make a note.
I made a hole first. I went down the hole and then I made some notes.
Now you put them in the note hole. You can't find your notes again. It's dark down there.
Where are my notes?
You can't turn your blob into
They're
a
on
light.
your marble columns.
You know, marble columns in the hole.
So wait, is this okay? Was this a reference to like the 40th anniversary thing that just happened?
No,
Or was
no,
it-
no. It's another skit. Marble
Okay.
columns.
We'll
show you
It's,
after.
it's like a cheesy, like
All right.
old used car salesman type thing. He's trying to
Okay.
sell fancy marble columns, and he has
Marble
this
columns.
beautiful Italian girl, but with giant '80s hair and this tiny little dress. And she's like, "You got to get yourself some marble columns." And she's these
gotta
crazy
watch this.
nails.
We'll look at it after.
Yeah.
Fred Armisen is brilliant. Let's do some news. Normally we do a break, but we're just going to go right for it because we're starting late tonight. So.
Doot.
Okay. That's the music. So the first thing, and we're going to try not to go on to this too long, but we wanted to make sure we talked about it because it's a little bit
More vitriol coming.
some vitriol is coming up. By the way, I was surprised how little vitriol just happened with the Order of 1886. I thought we just talked about that normal. I wasn't even like screaming.
No, it was constructive.
It was okay. I was just expecting a lot more like you fuckers are all wrong.
Well, I've never played it,
I think
so
it's because we've drank a little bit and now we're feeling
Yeah.
chill.
Maybe that's it. Well, anyways, now that we're chill. So this is a topic that we're going to go over quickly. I said on this podcast once that we would only do the Gamergate thing once, and we did. We only really addressed it, and we did it with Kinsey and Ty Kelly, and it was awesome, and we got a lot of amazing feedback and nothing bad, and it was great. We kind of talked about the whole issue. The only reason I'm bringing it up again one more time is because there was a real fucked up, dumb, stupid ass show
There's the vitriol.
version of this, and it was on the SVU program that people seem to like, which is fine. You can like it. It's like a soap opera.
Law and Order.
Law and Order, SVU. It's kind of ridiculous. Whatever. I'm not going to judge you. My friend Chelsea watches it. You know, I know people who watch it. But the problem is that right now it's very around a sensitive topic, which is, you know, this women in gaming, they shouldn't be in it. And there's some sort of problems around it because young children, usually boys, no, all boys, are like, you know, threatening women in gaming. So that's what it is. But the reason I want to bring it up because the show, you know, it's insane. The television show on this topic was insane. So I just wanted to talk about it for a minute, and then we won't seriously ever talk about this again. But before we get started, I'm going to say a couple things, and then I'm going to see what Lauren's take is, and then Justin's. But I think in general, what I wrote down for my notes before we even get into the actual program is that for me, like I said earlier, games are just like movies and music to me. So anything that's going around in this world of like, oh, there's a woman making a game or for a production company or likes to play games, all that stuff has zero relevance to me. I think we were talking over drinks earlier. I call it a non-issue. Mm-hmm. It's about entertainment, right? So I'm not thinking about if a woman made a movie or if she was on a production. Or there's actresses. Oh, there only actors? No, there's both. There's actresses and actors. It doesn't even register. Women bands, amazing, right? It should be a non-issue. So that's my first thing. It's entertainment. It has nothing to do with men and women. The second thing is there's like stats out there that show average gamers, like 48% being women at times, like on some of these stats. That's, again, a non-issue because half of the people playing, you know, some of these games are women. So that's dumb. And the last thing I'll say is this is the funniest one. This is directly to people who are, you know, maybe young boys who don't understand what they're doing and part of this whole thing. No woman, speaking to you as a guy, I'm talking to the guys right now, guy to guy. No woman playing video games or being involved in video games has ever been a bad thing to me. It's only been awesome, you idiot. Because when I was growing up, women were like, you're gross. You get the fuck out of here, you play video games? You're a nerd. You're the dumbest nerd, go away. Right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh shit, I've had girlfriends, we play Baldur's Gate all night. That's fucking incredible, dudes out there. Like, listen to me, a dude to a dude. This is awesome. Like, women are kind of cool, right?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
They're awesome. I was saying kind of cool as in, like, the younger version of me, right?
Yeah.
Hey, they're kind of cool. But that's like John Travolta. Hey, it's kind of cool. But that's my last thing on the kind of overall thing. It just seems crazy to me that young men, boys, would be freaked out about it because if anything, it's awesome to have women around the things that you love. Like, I like playing this thing. You know, I like doing this entertainment thing. And if you like it too, that should be awesome.
That's what it should be.
Drop the mic.
That's what it should be. But ironically, that is what was driving this, like, kind of gamer subculture and where a lot of this tension has come from. I talked to a friend of mine who, because I often post about this kind of stuff on my private Facebook, and he came up to me at, I'm in a band, and he came up to me at band rehearsal, and he was like, yeah, I totally agree with you, you know, it's really stupid, but just to give you some backstory, you know, there was a time in the 70s when I was really into D&D, and the girls made fun of us, and we tried to, like, you know, even say, hey, we can get girls in here too, but none of the girls would join. And so they, you know, like, some of these people end up getting a chip on their shoulder over time that I was rejected, and now all of a sudden it's cool to like video games, so now you gotta stay out of our club because we ended up making it cool, and now you can't be a part of the cool club, you know? I think that's where a lot of that anger comes from. But then all the people who eventually ended up liking games that had nothing to do with these other people who were harassing others for liking games, they're like, hey, I like games. Like, I don't know about any of this icky stuff that happened in the past. I just like games. They're fun. They're for everybody. And then, you know, there's this like this culture that has bred this like, oh, there's all these people out there who are against us, and so those people come back and go, no, you can't like games, you can't be a part of this club, and those other people are like, and you know, and women too are like, hey, I just want to have fun.
But to that point, very specifically that point, again, speaking to all the people like this, that are involved in this, that club thing is exactly what, if you're growing up, you don't want. Like I was, again, if you're ousted by other clubs in high school or in junior high or wherever, that sucks, man. That sucks to have not the ability to, you know, like I was like, oh, I can't go out with that girl because she's part of that club, right? Or I can't hang out with that dude who we might actually get in common. I think he has, you know, comic books like me, but no, he's a jock dude, and so we can't hang out. And then that's also societal stuff, right? Like cultural. We can go into history with that. But.
Well, for me, I was horribly harassed because I was a geek, and I am a geek, and I was terribly harassed in school, and I didn't adapt my style to other people. I had my own style, and I don't know, it was kind of threatening to the quote cool kids. And so I remember graduating from public school going, I didn't graduate with a chip on my shoulder going, well, now it's my turn to make fun of other people. But I went, you know what, I'm never going to treat anybody that way again. Like, that was a lesson that I learned, and they actually gave me a gift because they taught me how to not treat somebody, because that was terrible. And I think that we can pass that along if we're feeling burned for some reason in our past. It's just time to say, hey, it's not other people's fault. Like, they have nothing to do with it. I want to make the world a better place and be more inclusive. Anyways, I'm going way off the SVU stuff.
That's fine. I brought you there. And inclusive was the word I was going to say. Let's just kind of all be more inclusive, because this is an art form that we're all really excited about and dig. And I just don't see what I don't see what it is.
It's not a zero-sum game. People think it's a zero-sum game. Like, if you like it, then that means something less of me.
Right.
No. Like, we can all love this stuff, and it's totally great. It, in fact, elevates the experience for everybody.
Real quick to finish that point. Yeah, you're 100% right. We were just mentioning this at the bar, and that Justin has his hand up, is that, when you guys leave after this podcast, I'm going to shut all the lights off and play the Order 1886 again. Yeah, I'm playing it, bitches.
Played in his hole with his blob.
I'm going to play in my hole. I'm going to play 1886 with his blob. I don't have a blob, though.
Make one.
Okay. Well, that's grosser. Listen, you guys leave. I'm gonna get in my hole. I'm gonna make a blob, and then I'm gonna play my game.
Let's leave Carlos alone.
Let's leave me alone. Let's leave. I want to leave me alone.
Now let's put a National Geographic camera here.
Here he is in his natural habitat, in the hole. Okay. I don't know how that... Yeah, this has got to stop. So, no, but what I was saying is that when you guys leave, I'll turn the lights off, I'll play the game, and literally it has nothing to do with men, women, animals, blobs, holes, any of that stuff. It has to do with me escaping into a fun place, like watching a movie. Like, literally, I could turn the lights off and do the same thing and watch Walking Dead or whatever, right? And I'm going to have a fun thing. And it doesn't even involve anybody else. That's what's so baffling to me. Me personally, like, I'm not a big multiplayer guy either, but I literally do it for the experience to have. And literally it has no bearing on me, like how it was made, the conversation around it, the people reviewing it. I'm like, how about I get to decide that? I'm going to have a fun experience by myself with this thing that someone made, and I'll decide if it's cool or not. And that's it, So, Justin, your hand, go.
Yeah,
and then we'll actually talk about the episode for a minute. And then
I was going to say something, and then I've
oh, it's gone?
I forgot how to say that. What's her last name? Anita Sarkeesian. That's it. Yeah, because the whole Gamergate thing, it's kind of like when it was, I guess, really just ramping up. It's kind of one of those things where, I would hear things, but, my main opinion is just like, oh, God, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. I can't.
You go to your hole, then. You go to your hole when that happens.
Yeah, I go to my hole, play with my blob.
Jeez.
This is how me and Carlos operate.
It is, generally.
But, it's something that I wanted to look into, and this podcast gave me an opportunity to do so. So I watched some interviews with her, and because very much the Law and Order episode is really, it seems to be very, very much based on that.
And Brianna and a bunch of people, that are in that.
Well, yeah, it's just I mean, for the episode itself, it's weird. Just on the surface, it's weirdly written in that, everyone in that show an adult that probably like grew up around the time that we grew up.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what is this games thing? It's just it's like a nerd movie from the 80s. Like, it was weird.
It's like Reefer Madness we were talking about. Like, it's like, oh, this is what that pod is about.
Yeah, and everyone that plays games talks in weird acronyms, and it's just but yeah, it's just. Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about it, I think there's so many problems that I have with
someone's the phone. That's the Lauren.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I like that you're taking pictures, though.
I'm taking,
and you'll see those on the website.
Okay, turn off.
Is that an off?
It's on off.
Triple off.
It's on airplane mode.
Okay, good. That's off. No, but to that, let's just talk about the episode for a minute. Obviously, yeah, the biggest foible, which is not just this particular episode, but in general, these TV shows that are like this, where they kind of dumb things down. They supposedly this episode rips things from the headlines and puts it in the show. Like we were mentioning, there was one, I guess, where Rihanna got hit by Chris Brown. Is that right? I forgot what his names. And then they did that on the show, basically something like it. And then at the end, the girl dies. Like, it sounds like there's a lot of Debbie Downer endings. And this episode is a fucking Debbie Downer as well. So it's like, seems like it's par for the course, is what I'm saying.
Well, right. You want to do the...
No,
not that.
Oh.
But yeah, it's because, you're telling me about that, and it just seemed like, if every episode ends like that, it's like, oh, well, we're trying to protect the public and everything like that. But and if it just all always ends in tragedy, they should call it...
Wait, I forgot. No.
Oh, shit. Okay, we're going to have to edit this part out.
No, there's no editing anymore. I don't have time. What,
oh, my God.
Whisper it louder.
Why do we bother?
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
So they should call it
Law and Order.
Why do we bother?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's...
it just pretty much didn't work, but I like that we did it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, so if I'm going to list the problems that I have with this, the fact that they open it, they're setting the tone with the show, saying that, that men are just like predestined and predetermined to just be violent assholes, for one, which I took issue with, which is repeated again when the game rep of this company is being sexually assaulted in this bathroom. Like, this woman comes up to the woman detective. Well, all three of them, because they're
and the dudes stay.
Yeah, it's like, I think something's wrong with my friend in the
my friend might be getting accosted, and the guy's like, "Sorry, dudes, I'm playing games."
They don't even react. They just keep watching.
They're like cops, right?
Yeah, it's just like, I get it.
Crazy.
It's the ladies' room, but you're cops.
Yeah, you're cops. You're right. That's from the very beginning they do that.
And
fucking lame.
So, and I guess, the weird thing is that, it's just the reaction, and I guess, just the regular, the par for the course reaction from like haters and griefers and trolls and whatever that's mimicked in the show. It's just baffling to me, because in the show they're making like this game that, it's supposed to be this awesome civilization building game, and like, you can go violent, you can go diplomatic, and I'm just like, well, okay, cool.
Yep. What
does that have to do with an ultra violent FPS game at all?
Nothing.
And it's not like, that's what got me with like Anita Sarkeesian talking about people saying, oh, well, you're a feminazi and we're going to come after you. And it's just like, watching her videos, it's like she makes very, balanced, well-reasoned arguments, and says repeatedly throughout her series that, it's possible to love these games, but also, to critique them. And, if geeks are good at anything, it's critiquing.
Yeah.
And pulling apart stories and plots and things like that. And it's weird to me that, like, when you add, like, a feminist angle to that, that somehow, like, everyone just loses their shit.
Well, I think with her and with a couple of these situations, and now we're kind of off on the beaten path, but it's okay. I'll say, my one thing I'll say about it is, I think, again, to my earlier point, which I think is solid, is that if you don't go in either direction, then you won't have this problem, right? So extreme versions of what it means for women in gaming, I think that's kind of weird too. To me, it's about a game developer. It's not that she's a woman or man. That's how I see it. Yeah. So I feel like if I don't know, I'm not going to speak to anybody in particular, but if someone's making a video or an article and they're being really heavy-handed about something, then that's just bad anyhow. That's like not good journalism, and it's like too extreme. So I don't like the extremes on either side. You know, I don't know where or when that's happening all the time. I'm not, again, calling out any particular people, but I think it should just be about the games and people who make them.
Right. No,
That's it.
I definitely agree, and that's why I guess that's part of the reason why I like the ending of the episode. Well, I guess
you're jumping to the ending.
Well, I mean, do you there are other things that you want to touch upon? I mean, like,
Yeah.
I have a strong opinions
please.
about the ending.
Yeah,
too.
no.
Yeah.
So, well, let's go back for a minute. So, real quick, we were going to go, line by line, but we don't want to spend that much time on this. So, in general, let's just do the gist of how we feel about it and a couple things from it. So, you said a bunch already, and I agree with everything. And especially that beginning, I forgot that the cops were like, "Yeah, we don't care about that person getting accosted. That's just bad being cops." Mm-hmm. That's actually bad English. That's just bad being cops.
me don't think those cops good.
Me think cop bad because now I'm doing an accent. I was like from an alien.
That's what you
anyway.
get from living in the hole.
I'm in the hole too long, people. So that happened. In general, it's ridiculous. It's very sensationalized television.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, I was watching it, and I actually tweeted while I was watching it. I was like, "This is the most boring SVU episode ever." That I said that about halfway through, because they were pulling parts of the most extreme parts of the Gamergate discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was griefing, there was doxing, there was violent threats, there was a guy wearing a mask making death threats to these women, and so that was, but it was all also so played up. It was like a stage play,
It was
all
play.
very
Yeah.
dramatic, and I know that they need to do that to entertain their audience, but I think it reflects terribly on the game community and on men and on women. When at the very end she says, and we're getting into the ending now. She says at the very end, gaming is no place for women. Because
Like,
they're
almost to the
threatening
camera.
her, right to the camera.
Yes,
And
like, what did I expect?
and I'm like, no, this is like telling women don't go into gaming.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrible. No, that hasn't actually happened.
Yeah. And now, obviously, we're very sensitive to the people who are getting real threats and I'm, full of vitriol on that front. Because that, at the end of the day, that's just if someone threatens someone else, that's it. Like, that's what that is. It has nothing to do with video games anymore. It's like, you just threaten somebody. That's just a bad thing to do. Don't do that. But to this thing, the ending is ridiculous and, again, very played up, sensationalized, ridiculous because it is such a sensitive topic right now. And to literally, you have, as Justin and I both know who do video, you have a responsibility when you put something out into the world, because it is for entertainment lots of times, but it's also, people are taking that in. They're getting that message, and they're subliminally getting it in, and you know what I mean? And so that's just it's lazy, and it's bad to be able to.
Yeah, lazy. That's the perfect
lazy
word.
is a good word. Yeah.
To
have that ending. There's stuff that happens in the middle. It's all ridiculous. They do a lot of like, here's what a noob is, and
Yeah,
stuff happens in the middle.
It's all
Dox.
ridiculous.
Well, that means blah blah
Yeah,
blah. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh,
They had to
thank you for
explain
telling
that
us.
twice to two different characters.
I don't watch that show ever, but the one main woman character.
Oh gosh,
She's like, listen, all you guys saying you're gibberish. I don't know. I'll be over here.
Yeah, it's like all the law enforcement women were just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I'm not a gamer because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
That was kind of the.
Why do you guys
female
play games?
cops.
You should watch basketball. It's like,
Yeah, and there was definitely like a bringing together of like dudes are assholes who shoot things, and that's what they like doing. That's it. Oh, you wouldn't get it because dudes shoot things, right?
Yeah.
Again, I'm literally going to leave. Anyways,
well, okay. Well, if you're going to leave it, I'm going to stay with it just a little bit more.
no, that's fine.
Okay.
We have a couple more things, and then we could get off.
Okay. So, when they're having towards the end of the shootout on the roof, what got me is
Just listen to that sentence, by the way.
I know roof.
But the shootout on the roof.
That's
Remember
never
that?
been
Yeah.
done before. I think one of the male kidnappers. Well, I guess they're all male, but he said it's like oh, like this is like they took this away from us, and I'm thinking, like, what did they take away from you?
Nothing got taken away.
There's no like coalition of people saying like, well, we're going to reform all FPS games and it's going to be like this from now on.
Yeah,
it's like they made a completely, and that's the thing. It's just like, like you were saying, it's just like it's entertainment. It's like, all right, fine. You don't like the game, then don't buy it and don't play it. It's just.
Yeah. They also threw together that whole idea of I can't distinguish reality from a game.
Yeah.
That's
it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. And then they showed first person, which was ridiculous.
Stupid.
Yeah, those camera angles. It's just like, it's just really.
Again,
Are we doing this again?
You're driving the point home by doing that camera angle. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's lazy, and it's also like. It has to be extremely lazy to not know that.
By the way, you guys should totally see the meme that was going on. Everybody was like superimposing or photoshopping in different weapons, like a Minecraft axe. They're like,
nice.
This is like real life.
It's like real life, yeah.
Put a BFG in there, like.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that whole side part of it, because they brought that up a lot actually in the show, where like, oh no, that you can't just that guy and those gamers again, everybody. Can't distinguish reality from the game. That's just, you don't understand. That's just how it works. I'm like, no, it doesn't. That's called delusional. And
people who do believe that, a very small fraction, there's something not quite right with them.
Yeah,
but
that
the
means you
vast
have other
majority.
problems. Also, you have other problems.
Also, writers just saying that's just how it works is very lazy, I find.
Yeah, the writing in general is pretty lazy.
But just the last thing I
Patronizing.
have to, the last thing I have to say about that, like the ending that you were mentioning, it just. Yeah, I mean, sure, it's the Law and Order Debbie Downer ending, but, this idea, it's like, yes, this woman who's a developer went through this horrible experience, but the takeaway is that that the gamer culture is just filled with just petulant, violent, rapey men.
Yeah.
And I should have stayed away from it from the beginning, and it's very, very misrepresented.
Well, it's also like insanely inaccurate, because someone was talking about in an article recently where she's a woman in games, like a developer or something, and was at like Indiecade and all these other millions of different. Yeah, it's another truck.
Okay,
or maybe that's something else.
It's upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear it.
I think you have stompy neighbors.
Oh, it's just Core. We can now. He's called out on the podcast.
Core's got the concrete boots.
Core, what's your problem? What was I saying?
The event. And
right. So right now it's just inaccurate, because like there's a ton of events out there now, right? Not just like the E3s of the world, and there's people making amazing exploratory experimental games about all sorts of things, and cats and women and aliens and unicorns. It doesn't matter. Like this version,
that game. Cats, women, aliens, and unicorns.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
But this version of like that's why I'm saying it's inaccurate, because like literally I go to all these events. And they're amazing. They're all sorts of things. They're not, mainly one thing. Back in the day, E3 was a lot more shooter. Like that. There was maybe a place from the beginning where some of this stuff was marketed, extremely, hugely on television, that kind of stuff with commercials. But the actual ins and outs of like game development now is so many different types, right? And so that's why it's like just inaccurate as a regular standpoint. But one thing I will say also, and then we will leave this, is that the television show, it made me so mad that they allowed this girl to actually get hurt and messed with in the show. I was like, wait, they're not going to actually have her get kidnapped, right? Wait, they're not actually going to like take her clothes off.
Right.
Wait, they're not actually going to make her say all this stuff in the television show.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the writers. And I'm talking directly to you motherfuckers, right now.
Like,
Carlos is calling that out.
How is that even entertainment?
How are you writing the words? We're gonna rape the girl in the middle of the show, right? Okay. Why are you doing that again? Entertainment, and then we're gonna they're literally going to do that. I can't believe and fathom that they allowed that to happen. Also, bad cop work that they lost her in the middle of that auditorium.
Well, it's bad cop work. I mean, like, I guess the reason that the writers would do that, just to play devil's advocate, is like, well, it's a gritty drama, but
no, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Just so you know, we have like 1,000 military vans driving by or something.
Yeah.
Missiles, I think.
Missile.
Missiles.
The missile parade.
Okay, well, we're done. I'm over it. So everybody, the takeaway is we're all sad about that and mad, but mainly just play video games.
And let's make the world a better place and be more inclusive.
Yes.
And if you don't like it, then just go and enjoy video games on your own and don't rain on other people's parades.
Yeah.
Don't rain on everybody's parade. Hey, here's another news story that's much more entertaining, or at least for me. They showed about 40 minutes of the new Final Fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
Final Fantasy 15.
15? I feel old.
Yeah, I know, it makes you old. You're like,
Not so final anymore.
Yeah, I know, wait a minute.
Final.
This is serious. It should be like in parentheses, seriously.
Seriously, now.
They showed off 40 minutes of the game, and I just brought it up because it reminds me of Dragon Age Inquisition. And I'm like real excited because that's the game we were just talking about, that we just finished. It's like in my mind, the style of like, action-based RPGs, right? And to have Final Fantasy be that way where you're literally, they've done action and real-timey kind of stuff before, but this is like you're running around a field and, shooting, killing monsters. And
Oh,
stuff
so
like
it doesn't switch over to another view and turn based. You're
No,
actually live action.
Yeah, you're actually in
battle.
Well, I have something to say about that.
Do it.
Great.
Yeah. Well, no. So yeah, I watched some of the footage that you posted. I mean, like it looks fantastic, and I don't think I've ever seen. I mean, I know graphics, whatever, but I think they actually have like hair simulation on them, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. And that and the grass look really
Yeah,
good.
it's like the PS4 is like, look at what we can do. But it was kind of weird to watch. I mean, I kind of liked that, there was a little warning bar that, like, oh, do you want to go towards this random encounter? Do you want to try to run away from it? That's kind of cool. What I didn't understand was, like, I don't know if this is going to be multiplayer or not, but I didn't understand, like, it seemed like there was a party leader.
Uh-huh.
And that the other people in your party just kind of acted of their own volition, which
which happens
weird.
in Dragon Age Inquisition. That's how that works.
Really? It's just, it's like I can't picture like a Final Fantasy game where like I don't go through each turn. Targeting seemed kind of weird too, because it's just like I didn't understand like how they were choosing targets necessarily.
Well, again, I think if you need to play Dragon Age, it's pretty amazing.
Okay.
What they do is your party has AI. It does the things that you generally want it to do. You can stop it and actually say, okay, you go do this and you go do this. So I think they'll probably do something similar, I think.
So kind of like almost like VATS, but for more like
Right.
a team turn-based thing.
Team VATS, but it's all action, it's all real time, and then every once in a while you can stop it. This is how Dragon Age worked.
Okay.
But the reason why I liked it is because in general the AI was smart enough to know the right things to do, so I'd have to babysit them a lot.
Oh, interesting.
And so I could just really focus on the character I was controlling and just kicking ass with it and using spells. Stop it every once in a while to give that other people health potions if I need to, and then start it back up again.
Phoenix down.
Yeah, exactly. So I think from the gameplay that we're being shown, it looks like that, and so that's why I'm excited about it
That's really cool.
because I love Dragon Age.
Yeah.
If that's not apparent already,
Do you love Dragon Age?
I like
tell.
Dragon Age. Sometimes when I'm in my hole.
You beat me to it.
I know. You're right about that. Me and my blob like to play Dragon Age. Hey, Twitch announced TwitchCon is coming to San Francisco. A whole con for Twitch.
So everybody's going to be walking around with like head-mounted cameras and live streaming all of their interactions in
Probably.
some complicated web.
No,
Maybe.
they're just going to be jacked up on caffeine.
Yeah. They're twitching out. Is that where you're going
Yeah.
for the Twitch stuff? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Whoa.
Comedy jokes.
we need an actual rim shot, though. So this was mentioned that it's going to happen September 25th and 26th at Moscone Center in San Francisco. They're still underway, and Twitch would like the community's input on what should happen at the event. So they're actually open to what they should do there. I'm sure it'd be really fun to do big, huge, collective stream events and stuff, like Twitch plays Pokemon and stuff. Mm-hmm. I apologize. I'm going to get pee poppers. I've noticed my mic has been crazy tonight.
I want to mention something. I don't know how practical it would be, but I watched this documentary called "I Know That Voice."
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and
yeah.
What I learned from oh god, why can't I remember his name now? Joe,
the guy who did the Adventure Time, the dog.
Yeah, Jake and Bender.
Yeah.
Why can't Joe
I'll look
Joe
it up.
John DiMaggio. No, Joe DiMaggio is the baseball player.
He sure is.
John
He sure is.
DiMaggio. It's John DiMaggio.
Okay, I believe
So-
you, but I'm still gonna look it up.
So what he said to do is that you put like a pencil or a finger in front of your mouth. So every time you go, like you break up that airstream so it doesn't like hit your microphone, but you can still do P sounds.
Wait,
I'm
are you,
doing it
are
right
you
now.
saying we have to put a finger in front of our mouth the whole
look.
time?
Well, if you're doing a lot of P sounds, like
But how you don't know, you don't know when it's going to happen.
Peppers, you know.
You need to keep it like a little further away from your mouth, right?
Oh.
So it
Yeah,
catches
something
the
like that.
Because
string
it's
there.
right on my lips. It sounds
Like-
like this.
Yeah.
Well, I love when you go like this.
Oh, he's starting to pick his nose.
Oh. I'm going to
I'm sure everybody gets these visual
I'm
gags.
going to the hole.
All right. Well, I know that voice is by John DiMaggio. You're right.
Yeah.
You should check out that documentary. It's pretty cool. It's about voiceover people.
Yes.
Which by the way, little known fact, I auditioned for the Walking Dead game show. Or video game, I mean.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Tell us about
Why
this.
did I say game show? I've been drinking.
If you lose, you get eaten by zombies.
I was going to be... I forgot the character's name. I was going to be a character, and I did a audition, and I sent it to them, and they gave me a callback.
Ooh.
So I got the
No
full
way.
script of the character, and I read all the lines, and I didn't get the part.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I got at least a callback, which is cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I forgot which character it was now.
Hopefully they
I
keep
have
you
to
in
find it.
mind. You know, that'd be awesome.
Well, maybe they'll hear this podcast. Listen to my voice, minus the pee popping. Oh wait, hold on, minus the pee popping.
Oh,
I don't know if that
people
works.
still do it.
I can still pee. No,
No.
I think that.
No.
Anyways, okay, so that's that. TwitchCon's happening. You should check it out. It's probably going to be fun if you're in San Francisco. Wait, I have one more thing. What were you saying,
Oh,
Justin?
did you want to talk about Inside?
Inside the hole?
Oh,
Well, maybe. Okay.
Well, let me say one thing, and then you would talk about Inside.
Yes, sir.
Star Ocean developer TriAce has purchased by a mobile company. TriAce, Star Ocean, huge game.
yeah.
This is very interesting because, I work for a company that does mobile. Mm-hmm. Mobile's a pretty big deal. It's pretty fun and huge. But yeah, they're like old school, and now they're going to be focusing on mobile games. They did Star Ocean, The Last Hope, Residents of Fate, Valkyrie Profile, a lot of old school, really cool
Ooh,
RPGs.
JRPGs.
JRPGs, yeah. And to see them be in that space is cool. I mean, like, we all talk about Nintendo finally getting into the space. They have a Match 3 game that they're doing soon. Something Shuffle. I think Pokemon Shuffle.
Pokemon Shuffle. Yeah.
And so that'll be interesting to see them go there. And now, these old school RPG guys are going to go there.
And this kind of ties into that news that we posted on Video Game Break this past week, that the big trend is funding Kickstarters that are inspired by classic Japanese RPGs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
kind of fits that trend.
It sure does. And I'm all for it. Because there's a lot of, there's some pretty bad rubbish in mobile games. It's so
So democratized, there's so much of it.
so much of it. That's the thing. And when it feels like if I hear Nintendo, Star Ocean developer, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll give that a chance first, right? Because there's so much crap in there. I don't know. What do you think, Justin? Any thoughts on that?
Just in general, I'm all for, I guess better RPG and game development for mobile devices. It's just with few exceptions, I tend to get pretty disappointed. Especially I'll get an RTS bug sometimes. I'm like, I want to play an RTS game, and if you do it for mobile, it's like, well, yeah, but you pay for all your upgrades.
Oh yeah. You got to be careful with that.
And
How they do those
and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Have you played? I know you like the old school Final Fantasies and stuff. Have you played any of those on mobile? I feel like there's some of those are available now.
I haven't really played the old school Final Fantasies. It's pretty much I hopped on 7 and I loved it.
Oh, that's when you say old school, you mean that?
Yeah, and I haven't. And every Final Fantasy since, I've just been kind of no, it's just not as good.
It's not the same, is
It's
it?
not the same.
Not 7, guys.
It's hey.
I know. No, I agree.
Yeah.
What, you sound like that? That they're just
Okay,
doing an
wait.
impersonation.
What?
Guys, it's not 7. I think I'm Michael Jackson, kind of in a way.
I
Kind of.
Hey guys, want to You wanna?
Okay, go.
No, I don't want to say anything there.
Is that the like if you love it so much, why don't you marry it voice? I mean, like,
I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
Final Fantasy Legends is on mobile. There's Final Fantasy.
What about
games.
Tactics?
I
That
still have time.
I don't. Yeah, that is a long. It's an involved game. Tactics.
Well, I know, but like it's fun.
Well, anywho, what do you want to talk about Inside, which is the trailer?
So I absolutely love Limbo, and I love the music of Martin Stig Anderson. And Martin Stig Anderson, if you're watching, I absolutely love you.
Or listening.
What?
I don't think he's watching.
Oh, he's watching. Fine, listening.
Yeah.
He can watch the speaker. You're not the boss of
He
him.
could.
Well, but you turned me on to Limbo when I visited you in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Play Dead Games, I love Limbo, and they are coming out with a game. I don't know when in early 2015 it's coming out, but sometime in early 2015 they're coming out with their next game, Inside, which looks creepy and phenomenal.
Inside what? Inside what?
Inside the hole, but yeah, in general.
It might be. It's definitely, there are parts that seem to be outside where it seems like some sort of cataclysm or something has taken place.
I'm showing the video to Lauren right now, so if you hear her be amazed.
This looks a lot like everyone's gone to the Rapture, which is one of my big picks.
Oh, yeah.
For, I think 2015.
Oh, that was in our episode that got destroyed.
Yeah.
You might have to say that again then.
Yeah.
We're showing the footage now, and we'll put the link in the show notes, but it's a little boy basically going through these beautiful landscapes.
With these creepy zombie-like people.
Things.
These weird people who basically are like drones, which might be not close to the real world.
But yeah, there's also there's just this weird, like, what seems like an underground facility that you keep trying to go further and further into. Mm-hmm. And much like Limbo, you're trying to avoid, like, like weird robots and things that, for no reason want to kill you.
Yeah.
But
Justin, this is nightmare fodder.
Oh, but it's beautiful too, though. It's beautiful. Look at it. Well, yeah, you all should check out the trailer. It's in the link in the show notes. And if you haven't seen it by now, it's really fascinating and beautiful. So we're hoping it's going to come out sometime soon.
And yes, it is nightmare fodder, but like,
is it?
It's
Nightmares?
they make creepy games, but the gameplay, I can only imagine that it's going to be great.
What are they looking at?
Yeah, I know. At the end,
Exactly.
they're all the kind of drone workers are looking into something, and the little boy's like, "What are you guys looking at?"
Yeah.
And then they don't tell him. You know what they're looking? They're looking down the hole.
At the blob.
The blob's in the hole. It's past being funny a long time ago.
You say that, and then that ends up coming back around.
No, I was going to say that they were projecting a giant playthrough of Buena's Blob, and that's what's going on inside the building.
Yeah. And that's what broke the brain of everyone in the world. That's why you had the shuffling masses.
Yeah. That's going to be, I think it's going to do it, but I wanted to say a couple things before we leave. One, I was actually, I won't talk about it fully because I haven't played enough of it, but I am playing a little Alien Isolation, which is that new Alien
Talk
game.
about scary.
Scary,
Oh,
yeah.
God, I can't.
But for me, and I don't know if it's just me, but I'm definitely not scared. I'm definitely bored.
Whoa.
Yeah, because at some point, you heard this in probably some reviews, and again, take it with a grain of salt, because even my playing of it, is not what Kinsey's is, because Kinsey's scared as shit at the first thing of it, right? But my personal experience so far has been, I get the idea that there's an alien, and it's creepy that he's kind of always around. That's not a spoiler. And then, but there's a lot of walking into this huge ship. I know it's funny, but I literally, lots of times I don't have much time, and I play at night. I know. Justin's going on a different route. Like,
where's my hover round? There's so much walking.
He can't even walk in this game. He's too tired. He can't even walk. That's where you're going with it. But I don't know if I'm going to come back from that.
Okay.
It's just too funny to Justin.
Where's my scooter?
Listen, I need my cane and my walker. If we're gonna, I need both of them.
And your blob.
And my blob. So listen, I was walking around the space station, all right? And my sciatica started acting up. And you know what? I shut the game off because it hurt really bad. That's my review.
It's like sciatica.
Yeah,
Like,
it's my review of Alien Isolation. It's also like a PSA for like sciatica. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Well, I actually tried to pre-order it. Well, I did. So I could get the Nostromo edition.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And like I played like 5 minutes of that, and I couldn't. And you know why? And yeah, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but not much because I've only played 5 minutes of the game. Everything, when you go down to shut off the air vents, everything sounds like the alien.
And no
Everything.
one can hear you scream.
You were inside the alien.
Oh.
Oh, I thought the ship was like the alien.
Okay. The other thing is that like all the motion sensors are on. So every time you pass by a door, it's like
It does.
you know.
Wait, so there's a really cool feature of this. What you're talking about? You can actually turn these on or off, and I turn them both off. But it's a motion sensor in the game, and also there's an audio sensor. So if something in your actual living room or wherever you're playing it makes a sound, it can startle the alien.
No.
What?
Yeah, I turn that shit off right away.
No.
Possible.
Because it listens the microphone, you know,
Also, that would be fun with like a group
You mean
of...
the Xbox One?
I'm playing on the PS4. I have a microphone
No, this would
in
be
the
a lot of
controller.
fun with like a group of people. And you're like, shut up, don't say anything. Who
Right,
made a
right.
sound? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Exactly, and the PlayStation camera does that, right? So it's got the speaker or the.
That's nuts.
So basically, if it hears things, it's like, well, now the alien's going to hear. That's.
Oh my
I
God.
turned that off.
We got to play this sometime either here or at my house because like it just because we have two. One, because I'm scared. Two, because we have two very different reactions. Like, man, this is boring, and I have to walk a lot.
Yeah,
I'm just
telling
like,
you.
I am scared as shit.
I
I
will-
will get killed in any second.
If we finish this up real quick, I'll show you 5 minutes of it before we leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love watching people play those games. I hate
guys.
playing those games.
I'll put in the. There's like 8,000
hell?
trucks going by. I don't know what it is.
It's an alien brigade.
It's an alien brigade.
yeah, just a bunch of xenomorphs.
It's a bunch of blobs in vans.
Dude,
They're all going to the hole.
Dude.
I don't know that song.
know
Real
that
quick,
song.
by the way, so I'll show that to you guys after we leave. But I'm kind of bored, and I'll show you why. I'll say one thing though: sciatica is a real thing. All right,
It is a real thing. I feel
want to
it.
say that PSA. I'm not making fun of sciatica. It describes the symptoms of leg pain and possibly tingling, numbness, or weakness that originate in the lower back and travel through the buttock and down the large sciatic nerve in the back of the leg. Leg pain is shitty. So
Sucks.
I'm serious. If someone has I'm sorry.
If you have that and you're on a ship with an alien, you're screwed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely don't want to be on a spaceship with sciatica. You're going to be walking a lot.
Unless it's a medical ship that doesn't have an alien on it.
Right, because then you get nice treatment,
Yeah.
probably. Sci-fi treatment. And
Yeah, future painkillers.
maybe
all
they
that sort of
fix
thing.
it,
Yeah.
That's the end of the podcast. On that note, Lauren, where can people find you on the internet?
On twitter.com/ forward slash HALLSTIGERTS. And I should maybe make that shorter in the future.
That's fine. It's your name.
It's my name, Hall Steigerts.
Yeah. You don't have
That's
to make
me.
your name shorter.
Yeah, I also write on the Big Fish Games blog, bigfishgames.com/blog.
Bam. Justin, where are you on the internet?
So my Twitter is at AxonSpark. I don't use Twitter a lot, though. I'm going to say if you want to see me doing other weird, funny things on the internet, you should go on YouTube and search for the Tiny Baby Talk Show.
Yes.
Yeah, I tend to play villains on that show, but it is very funny.
It's a very funny show. Please go and watch that. We'll put the link in the show notes. And also, you do editing, and you're working on a project that's a Kickstarter.
Let's not talk about that.
Oh, but it's a thing.
It's a thing I'm working on. It is a short film that I am working on that is...
It
very-
will be done at some point.
Oh,
and
it
we'll
will.
get to watch it.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
but I don't want to talk about that right now.
Yeah, we don't talk about it now, even though I just talked about it. I'm ONAWA on Twitter. At Video Game Break is also on Twitter. Facebook.com/Video Game Break, which Lauren is now posting on.
Yay!
Justin, do you want to post on that? Or
I
you
just
you
don't,
have time?
I just don't have time.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
I'm lazy.
I don't have a lot of time, but when I come across cool stuff, I just throw it up there.
Yeah, that's fine. Actually, I think you already are like an admin.
Am I?
Never logged in.
Oh.
And then Facebook, yeah, I said that. Our website, which you probably already know, videogamebreak.net. And what other things? Oh, I have a little note. I was going to say something else. Talk amongst yourselves. No, okay, never mind.
Talking about blobs and hoes, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Talking
I didn't say
about
sing
blobs
amongst
and
yourselves.
hoes, yeah.
Hey, there's a hole.
Can't keep that up much longer. It's
Wow.
awesome.
I could have. Weirdly enough, I could have.
You're a professional.
Well, I guess that is it. I thought I had something else, and I can't find it in any of my notes, so I guess I don't.
Please leave us singing in that because that was pretty great.
Oh, yeah, I will. This is all in the podcast. All right. Have a good evening and play games, like your fellow humans because they're all pretty neat people. And
Give a gamer a hug.
give a gamer a hug, or just don't even call people. I just don't even people call gamers anymore. Like, just give people hugs.
Yeah, give people hugs.
Give random people hugs, and also play video games. And I don't know,
And enjoy your blob in your hole.
enjoy your bob in your hole. If, you know what? If you're stressed, smoke some weed.
Yeah.
Make time for yourself.
Yeah, you know,
Take care of yourself.
do it. Take a
treat
bath.
yourself.
Take a bath. Some bath salts in there.
But in the bath.
That's what you
Not,
do,
not,
right?
not in you.
No,
In your bathroom with your
Yeah.
marble columns.
get some marble columns. That'll make you feel chilled out. You'll be like, listen, I used to be stressed, but I got myself some marble columns, and I'm fine.
Yeah, they cools you out. They're very cold.
That's different.
That is different. That is different. Yeah,
Jewish. Oh, they should have had some like Jewish guy on that. That would be great.
I think now we're done.
We're done.
Okay.